Good morning. My name is David Krober, and I am your worship associate today. I'm a member of this congregation. And on behalf of our wonderful staff, which includes the Reverend Dave Dunn, our intern minister Liz Martin, our director of religious exploration Lexi T. Brown, who I don't see in the audience today, and our music director Alex Peach, I would like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North Congregation, which we lovingly call UUMAN. UUMAN is a liberal faith community with the mission to nurture our spirit, strive for justice, and transform the world. No matter who you are, whom you love, or where you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Welcome to all that are joining us remotely. And if there's any visitors that are here with us for the first time and you would feel comfortable introducing yourself, that would be great so we can worship together as friends. Do I have any first-time visitors over here on my left? No? How about over here on my right? Any first-time visitors? Oh, hiding in the back. Do you mind standing and saying, yeah?
I'm standing. My wife, her name is Lisa. I'm standing. She's being here for her calling. So she didn't ask me to come us. Didn't have a chance finally.
Yeah, welcome. Was that Stan and Lisa?
Stan and last name Lynn.
Okay, thank you very much. So welcome. We joyfully welcome children and families in worship, the sounds of children. Oh, doggone it, I'm missing. Who did I miss over here? All right, I'm going to be like the romper room lady. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Molly. I'm here with my friend Joy and her family, Ritzy and Alex. It's been a long time since I've been at a Unitarian service, but I was excited to be in the area today.
Well, welcome, Molly. Thanks. Anybody else? Let me hide behind the chairs. Okay, and I see some of our children have found the fidget corner. If you find yourself getting fidgety and you need something to occupy your busy hands, you're welcome to join in the back there. And after the Wondering Time story today, we will sing the children out to Children's Chapel. If this is the first time for your children attending it, please walk over with them to get signed in. I've got a couple of announcements for you this morning. First of all, Family Promise families are here at UUMAN until June 21st. UUMAN is partnering with our neighbors, the Roswell Masjid and Northbrook United Methodist Church, to provide meals, linen services, and a safe place to stay. We hope you'll make these families welcome at UUMAN and see your email for a link to the Sign Up Genius to volunteer if we still need any more volunteers. I don't know. Okay? Please join UUMAN as we celebrate Pride in Roswell by attending the Pride Walk and Fest Roswell 2026. Woo! Yeah, next Saturday, June 13th, 9:30 is the pre-walk gathering of UUMAN in Town Square Park, and then the walk will begin at 10 a.m. down Mimosa Boulevard. The festival immediately will follow that and last until about 4 p.m. Contact any member of the social justice team for more information, and don't forget to wear your yellow Side with Love t-shirt. Are you interested in joining your fellow humans for a hike or other outdoor adventure? We have a group for that. Actually, it's a new group, Outdoor Humans. Please join us next Sunday to plan activities for the next few months. Bring your picnic lunch and meet on the porch in front of the sanctuary after second hour next Sunday, June 14th. For more information, see Brooke Adler. And I saw Brooke before. Brooke in the back. There you go. Thank you. And a late-breaking announcement. Somebody left a green camp chair at East Roswell Pavilion last week. It is sitting out here in the lobby, if you own that. Is that it? Now let us greet one another in the hand or elbow of friendship.
Good morning. Tu Nang Groy. Tu Nang Groy is Kashi language, or Kasi language, and it means onward, to progress. This morning's call to worship is by the poet Mark Nepo. Ultimately, we are small living things, awakened in a stream, not gods who carve out rivers. Like human fish, we are asked to experience meaning in the life that moves through the gill of our hearts. Perhaps our efforts should now turn from trying to outrun suffering to accepting love wherever we can find it. Stripped of causes and plans and things to strive for, we have discovered everything we could ever need is right here in flawed abundance. We cannot eliminate hunger, but we can feed each other. We cannot eliminate loneliness, but we can hold each other. We cannot eliminate pain, but we can live lives of compassion. There is nothing to do and nowhere to go. Accepting this, we can do everything and go anywhere. And now let us light our chalice together.
Our chalice lighting for today is called Our Paths All Connect by Matthew Esco. We light this chalice for the value of sacrifice. Our interconnectedness calls us to care for others, even when it is difficult for ourselves. May the light of this flame remind us that there is no easy way for each of us to be on a path. It may get bumpy, but our paths all connect to each other to do what is called of us. May it be so. And now please rise as you are able and join in singing our opening hymn, number 123, Spirit of Life. This is the time in our service where children, young and old, are invited to the front for our time for all ages. After the story, children are invited to exit into Fellowship Hall for Children's Chapel for the remainder of the service. If this is your child's first time attending Summer Children's Chapel, please walk them to Fellowship Hall. After service, second hour RE program will take place in Fellowship Hall. Tina's going to read our story today.
Y'all. So today's service is about our sister church in India, Meghalaya, India, and it's called what? Above the Clouds? Abode of the Clouds. And in this state of India, there is a river that runs through it, and there's bridges, and some of the bridges are actually made out of tree roots. So this book is about those bridges. It's called Living Bridges, The Hidden World of India's Woven Trees. Up in the mountains of Meghalaya, India, under a cover of clouds, sits my village. When the monsoon winds blow, the rain pours and pours and the river overflows, spilling over its banks. But a bridge stands tall through it all, connecting our land and people. We call it our Mawsynjri. Today, Ni, which is Kasi for uncle, is going to teach me how to build our Mawsynjri. I can't wait. We walk together, hand in hand, step in step, down the valley through the mist and thicket. I see blue earthworms squirm, slugs slide, and spiders scuttle by. You can see all the bugs. There's the blue worms and spiders. Yeah, right here. Yeah, I did not either. When we reach the clearing, the river rumbles almost 100 feet below us, and ahead, rising, swerving, and stretching over 100 feet long, is our Mawsynjri. Our Mawsynjri is not made of concrete or steel. It's made of roots from the tall, wide ficus trees growing on either side. Inside the roots live little insects, birds, and worms, Ni says. This is their home. Our Mawsynjri is alive. I follow Ni onto the bridge. My fingers run along the gnarled sides and my feet step on soft, wet moss. Midway, I peep over the side. It's a long, long way down. Ni, what if the bridge gives way? What if I slip? Look, Ni says. Teachers, vendors, farmers, doctors, and families from our village use it all the time. Our Mawsynjri is strong. This bridge has weathered the worst of storms. That makes me feel better, but I decide not to look over the sides again. Yeah, it's way up high. We stop at a clump of new roots. Thinner than my fingers, they hang down like vines. When the new roots grow, we blend them with the old, Ni explains. We guide them along bamboo scaffolds where they travel and lengthen, thicken and toughen, and sprout more roots of their own. Together, they make a path that we pave with mud, bark, and stone. Now it's time to do, says Ni. He begins to weave. One root and then another, crisscrossing them into a tight pattern. I follow his movements, gently tugging and pulling. The roots bend and flow, taking the shape we give them. Listen, Ni says. I close my eyes and hear the river gush, the birds chirp, and the cicadas sing. Our Mawsynjri is music. He's got his eyes closed. As we continue to twist, tie, and braid, I think about hands. Those that built the bridge before us and those that will come after us. For building this treasure takes time. Ni says some Mawsynjri are young like me, while others reach back 400 years or more. That's older than my great-great-great-grandparents. It seems our Mawsynjri can live on forever. But then I noticed something different, a scar. What happened here, I ask. Some people cut the roots to steal and sell the white sap, Ni says. It leaks out like tears. I suddenly see a group of visitors coming our way. One tosses a plastic bottle into a growing pile. Look, the bridge seems to say to me, I need care. Their loud voices drown out the music made by the water, birds, and cicadas. Listen, the bridge seems to say, I need balance. I realize we must do more. Our Jinkingdri needs love. Love from me, love from Ni, love from visitors, love from us all. When we are finished, I look at the patterns I wove and think of all the ones I will still make. One day when I am older, I will show other children how to look, listen, and do. How to build our Jinkingdri, just like Ni taught me. But there is something that I can teach today. As I walk farther across, I greet others and show them the plastic and the scars. One by one, they join us as we clean, clear, build, and weave together. And when the day is done, we invite everyone to thank the water, wind, and trees, and to promise to keep loving our living bridge, our Jinkingdri. That's it.
At the beginning of each month, the Social Justice Committee provides an update on past 50/50 collections. In April, we partnered with Georgia Interfaith Power and Light, or GIPL, and your generous contributions resulted in a donation to their work in the amount of $486. So thank you all very much. Our 50/50 recipient for June is Family Promise of North Fulton, DeKalb. Family Promise delivers innovative solutions for family homelessness, including prevention, shelter, stabilization, and housing services. Here with us this morning is Andrea Brantley, the Executive Director of Family Promise, North Fulton, DeKalb. Andrea joined Family Promise 8 years ago in 2018 after serving as Director of Development for the Center for Children and Young Adults, where she led fundraising and marketing initiatives. She is a nonprofit and community affairs executive with nearly 20 years of leadership experience in fundraising, marketing, community engagement, and organizational development. Please welcome Andrea Brantley.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly grateful for the community support that we receive from UUMAN and the way this congregation shows up for families in need with compassion and action. Family Promise exists for one simple but powerful reason. Families shouldn't have to face homelessness alone. And yet, right here in our own community, parents are working hard, children are going to school, and still, because of a job loss, a medical emergency, rising rent, or a single unexpected crisis, families find themselves without a safe place to call home. When people hear the word homelessness, they often picture a single person on the street. But many of the families we serve look just like our neighbors. Parents with jobs, kids with backpacks, families who are doing their best and just need a little hand up to get back on their feet. We serve families with children who are experiencing housing instability or homelessness. We walk alongside them with dignity and hope, providing safe shelter, meals, and practical support. But we don't stop there. Our real goal is stability, helping families move from crisis to self-sufficiency. That means working with parents to find stable housing, supporting job searches and budgeting, connecting families to childcare and community resources, and surrounding them with encouragement when everything else feels so overwhelming. We're not just offering a bed for the night, we're helping families build a foundation for their future. And here's the part I want you to hear, loud and clear. This work is only possible because of people like you and UUMAN congregation. You don't just support Family Promise financially, you become a part of the story. You provide meals, you volunteer your time, you offer prayers, you create a circle of care around families who are often walking through one of the toughest times in their life. I've seen what happens when a family realizes they are not invisible, when a parent feels seen instead of judged, when a child realizes that there are adults who care about their future. Hope begins to return, confidence grows, and step by step, families begin to move forward again. One mom we served recently said something that stuck with me. She said, Family Promise didn't just help us find housing, they helped me believe I wasn't a failure. That is the heart of this work. Not charity alone, but dignity, partnership, and hope. So thank you. Thank you for being the kind of church that doesn't just believe in loving your neighbor, but actually living it out. Thank you for being a safe place for families you may never meet, but whose lives you are absolutely changing. Thank you so much. You all are wonderful. Give yourselves a hand.
In an effort to further and fulfill the vision and mission of this congregation, we ask that our members give of their time, treasure, and talents. With this, we will now take the offering. You may also use the Give Now option in the Breeze app or web browser. And because today is the first Sunday of the month, it's our 50-50 Sunday, so 50% of our offering, including any check specifically designated as 50-50, will be shared with Family Promise. And for the entire month, any checks or Breeze donations specifically designated as 50-50 will also be shared with them.
We accept this sacred offering generously given by our beloved members and friends. May we, and family promise, use it wisely and judiciously in service to our mission.
Joys with each other to magnify them, and our sorrows to divide the weight of their pain. If you're so moved, please feel free to come forward, state your name, and drop a pebble in the bowl and express a joy or sorrow that you may have. For those of you attending via our live stream, if you have a joy or sorrow that you'd like to share this morning, please type it into the chat and we'll read that at the end.
I'm Ash, they, them pronouns. I'm a member of this congregation, and I have a joy that I wanted to share. So I have been waiting for months to get a match through Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I think I may have finally found a match. And it's not only with just any kid, it's with someone that is also under that non-binary umbrella. So I'm really excited. I hope the match turns out well, and I just wanted to share that with y'all because I'm really excited.
I'm Jessie Diaz. I'm a member of this congregation, and I have a pebble of joy because today is Penny's 4th birthday. And she's very weird about 4, so she's been like, I don't want to be 4, none of my clothes will fit, I'll be too big. So if you say anything to her, say happy 3 and 12 months.
Man, Penny is such a delight. Hi, I'm Liz. I'm your intern minister, and some of you know that I recently returned from a trip to Vietnam with students from Emory, and I'm glad to report that I survived, and Vietnam survived us. We only had one student get detained, and it didn't last very long, which is great. I have lots and lots of stories. This could be a whole sermon series, but let's just say I am incredibly grateful both for the opportunities that I get as a part of my job, and I'm incredibly grateful to be here. There's nothing quite like gaining an appreciation for your home than traveling to an oppressive regime. Lots of stories to tell about that. So that's a pebble of joy. And then my other pebble of joy is that my phone is pinging me with reminders that my home congregation in Salt Lake City is getting ready to march in the annual Pride Parade in Salt Lake City. And, you know, I always thought the Salt Lake City Pride Parade was humongous because it's just as big as the Pioneer Day Parade in July that celebrates when the Mormons arrived in Utah. And then I came here and and I realized it lasts an hour. This one lasts like 5. So anyway, pebbles of joy.
Hi, I'm Bruce Langston. This month is my 30th anniversary at UUMAN as a member. I was in Florida last week with my family. We have a similar story to the Diaz's, a birthday story. My mother seems like she's going to make it to 100 in October. So it was very good for me to be down there. I also stayed with my sister in Sarasota for a couple of days. She is working a tough job there, fighting a good fight, helping ranchers and other landowners in Florida protect their land from development. And if you think that's interesting, grab me after the service, I'll tell you a little bit. I have some very interesting pictures of the ranches and the cattle and the people and the beautiful land. So that's all. Here's for my mom and my family.
Hi, I'm Valerie Bayless. This is a pebble of something. I'm not sure if you saw, but the Department of Defense, not war, has recategorized what they will allow service people to designate as their religion. There was a list of 200 different religions. They've just downsized the list to 31. Unitarian Universalism is no longer one of the designated list. And the Mormons aren't listed as Christians, so they're freaking out a little bit over that. But I saw this and got to thinking, I'm an atheist who never thought that I'd be in a congregation, and I thought, but you know what? This totally fits. I'm descended from Puritans, and one of my ancestors actually got kicked out of the Massachusetts Bay Colony for fraternizing with foreign Quakers. So I figured that this redesignation fits right in, at least for me. So.
And I'm going to drop a pebble of gratitude for Steve Allerton, who every week takes our joys and sorrows and transcribes those and gets out an email to the congregation. So gratitude to Steve for this largely silent but greatly appreciated service. Thank you, Steve. And I'll drop one final pebble for those joys and sorrows that are still too tender to escape the folds of our heart. We ask that you keep one another in your thoughts this coming week.
On September 18th, 1887, the first Unitarian worship service was held in the Khasi Hills of India. There were 4 people in attendance. Yet with love, care, nurture, hard work, determination, elbow grease, and I'm sure some disappointment along the way, now there are 10,000 Unitarians amongst 30 churches in the Khasi Hills of India. That first service, the beginning of that Unitarian movement, took place in the Indian state of Meghalaya, the abode of the clouds. And that first service was held in Meghalaya at the home of a 22-year-old man named Hajam Kesor Singh. The Indian state of Meghalaya is where the Khasi Hills are located. It's one of 7 Indian states on this kind of forgotten part of India. If you look at a map of India, there's actually kind of a finger of land that stretches thinly to the east. You don't normally think of that, and that's where the Khasi Hills are. It's actually surrounded by Myanmar, Bangladesh, Nepal, China, and Bhutan. And actually, culturally speaking, that part of India is closer to Southeast Asia than India itself. Hindus in that area are actually a minority, only 11% of the population. 75% of the people there are Christian. Christianity arrived in the 19th century with British colonial rule. And they displaced Christianity, not Hinduism there, but a native shamanistic religion that the Khasis had that had demons and gods and other things. Now, Hajam Kesor Singh was born in 1865 in Cherrapunji, Meghalaya, which is where those tree bridges are that we heard about in the story today. It's a remote agrarian part of India known as the wettest place on earth. Look it up. They receive 470 inches of rain a year. We receive here 50. Hajam Kishore Singh's personality predisposed him to religion and spirituality, and his thirst for this, combined with the confluence of events in history, led to the development of his own faith, which unbeknownst to him, but coincidentally ended up being mostly Unitarian. He was born into the era in India of the Brahmo Samaj. The Brahmo Samaj was a monotheistic reformation of Hinduism in India. It focused on the intellect and the use of reason, intuition, and it was generally practiced by some of the elite in India. But they wished, the Brahmo Samaj, to dispel some of the ancient beliefs in Hinduism and certain concepts. They didn't rely on the Vedas, the sacred scriptures of India, so much. They wanted to do away with ideas of samsara, the endless wheel of rebirth and death, and the concept of avatars for gods. An avatar is like another manifestation of a god. In Hinduism, there are 3 principal gods, but there are many avatars for the same god. For example, Vishnu is one of the 3 principal gods, but Krishna, Rama, and even, according to Hindus, the Buddha is an avatar of Lord Vishnu. Anyway, the Brahmo Samaj wanted to kind of do away with a lot of that. It was a reformation of Hinduism. They also wanted to undergo societal reformation, the caste system. They wanted more rights for women and have educational reform. Now, amongst the swarm of Christian missionaries that descended upon India in the 19th century was a Unitarian minister named Charles Dahl. He was born in Baltimore in 1816, and he was a Unitarian minister for over a decade. And in 1855, he was appointed to be the sole Unitarian missionary in India. And he left his wife and 2 children behind and moved to India, and he stayed there for 30 years. Now, one might think that this act, with him essentially abandoning his family, might be a terrible thing to do. But I think his wife was actually relieved. By all accounts, Reverend Charles Dahl was a very difficult personality. I think historians actually went easy on him. His wife, Caroline Healy Dahl, was the daughter of a millionaire, and she was a published author and journalist in her own right. Unitarian Universalist historian Spencer Lavin wrote, "Their marriage was not a success. Charles was unhealthy, unstable, and unsuccessful in his early ministries. His ministry in the United States ended in personal, professional, and physical failure. Soon, Caroline treated him merely as a sick child. And many could argue that his ministry in India failed as well. He did not create one Unitarian church in India in 30 years. Upon arriving in Calcutta in 1855 and seeing this reason and intuition-based Reformation movement, the Brahmo Samaj, he saw that it kind of rightly aligned with some 19th century Unitarian thinking, and he saw some opportunities for conversion. He became well acquainted with many of the leaders of the Brahmo Samaj in Calcutta. But as a sole missionary, up against religious and societal and cultural forces that were beyond his control, probably his chances of success probably were limited. His personality got in the way also. Actually, one of the leaders of the Brahmo Samaj, obviously frustrated with Reverend Dahl, said, Unitarians' representative in Calcutta has made it ridiculous here. That's not a good look. While Reverend Dahl was doing his missionary work in Calcutta, Welsh Christian ministers established themselves in Cherrapunji, Meghalaya. They preached the Calvinist doctrine of human depravity, predestination, hellfire, eternal damnation, and the love of Jesus. And they converted a young Hajam Kishore Singh. The life and teachings of Jesus set forth in the New Testament resonated and inspired Hajam Kishore Singh. And he didn't seem to notice when the Christian missionaries would criticize the ritualistic practices native to the native Kasi religious life. But he did become suspicious when the Christian missionaries would criticize other Christians who didn't believe exactly what they believed. He asked himself, don't these Christians believe in the same God? Don't they believe in the same New Testament teachings? The young Hajam Kishore Singh came to realize that the missionaries merely replaced the shamanistic demons of the native Kasi religion with hellfire, and that this was inconsistent with the teachings of Jesus. He began to question other things. Might other aspects, other ideas of this new religion to him be contrived replacements inconsistent with the teachings of Jesus? He turned away from that theology and began to develop his own. Annie Margaret Barr, a British Unitarian minister who established an orphanage in the Khasi Hills for many decades, wrote about Hajam Kishore Singh. She writes, he felt and declared that the message of election, damnation, and salvation by going to a certain church in the profession of a certain creed was incompatible with the teachings of Jesus as he read for himself in the Gospels. He tried to persuade his fellow Christians that the essence of Christianity was to be found in Christ's way of life and the scale of values, and not in any scheme of salvation by blood or faith. This developing theology could have been articulated by probably almost any 19th century Unitarian minister or theologian. Yet Hajam Kishore Singh had never heard of Unitarianism. Actually, it wasn't until he was having a theological discussion with a member of this Brahmo Samaj when that member said, the things that you're telling me are Unitarian. You should talk to this Charles Dahl guy in Calcutta. He's a Unitarian minister. So that was 600 miles away, so they began corresponding with one another. And Reverend Dahl would send Hajam Kishore Singh sermons from William Ellery Channing, Theodore Parker, and others. By the time of that first service, in September 1887, the Kasi Unitarians had developed their own statement of belief. They developed it themselves on the unity of God, the brotherhood of man, in love, union, worship, faith, and in immortality. Now, this last belief in immortality is not a westernized addition, but rather it was something they incorporated from that native Kasi religion. This immortality applies to everyone. It's universal. Again, they probably never heard of Universalism. They believed that after death, the spirit returned to a kingdom of spirit, not necessarily a good place or a bad place, just like some other realm, a spirit realm. Hajam Kishore Singh was not a minister. He made his living doing real estate, surveying, banking. He worked for the government for a while. He dealt even in medicine. Yet he single-mindedly leveraged all of his skills and talents for the promotion of Unitarian churches in the Khasi Hills. And with time and effort, that Unitarian movement began to grow. In 1896, the Reverend Jabez Sutherland went to the Khasi Hills to meet Hajam Kisser Singh and to witness what was going on there firsthand. He wrote, "I have never been more impressed with any religious movement than in the Khasi Hills. Everywhere I saw evidences, sincerity, consecration, and warm attachments to the religious faith which the people had felt had done so much good for them. The whole movement is unique in the fact that it has sprung from the soil." Although he did not compose hymns in the Khasi, they're in the Khasi hymnal, there's still some today. He left, Hajam Kisser Singh left no sermons or writings of any kind. Yet, in his diary in 1886, shows many entries. But then, suddenly, one entry in his diary. There's a page with bordered and black ink, and the heading is, "The Death of Reverend Charles Dahl." "I am very grieved to write here as a permanent record of the death of Reverend Dahl, my dear teacher, benefactor, and helper. For nearly a year now, I have been writing to him, and I confess that I have got great light from him. I hope to further the cause of Unitarianism in the Khasi Hills, but now that my helper has died, it will be very difficult for me to do this alone." The Reverend Charles Dahl was a difficult personality. Unstable, unsuccessful in his early ministries. His ministry in the United States ended in professional and physical disaster. Unitarianism's representative in Calcutta, who had made it ridiculous here. Yet a missionary who took the time. A missionary who found a way to make a difference in one man who discovered Unitarianism on his own. And this one man, Hajam Kisser Singh, starting in his home with 3 others, created a movement that has been meaningful and life-saving to tens of thousands of people in the Khasi Hills since September 18th, 1887. To Nangroy, onward.
Meherzad Mahesh, a member of our partner church in Mawsynjri, is that right? Yeah. All right, we got it. Writes in celebration of the anniversary of the first Unitarian service in the Khasi Hills. "We bow our hearts in gratitude for the gift of life, for the beauty of creation that surrounds us, and for the bonds that connect us as one human family. May we walk in the light of compassion, kindness, and understanding, seeking always to uplift and support one another. Let our hands be instruments of peace, our words be gentle and true, and our hearts open wide to the needs of the world. As we move through the days ahead, may we find strength in our shared purpose, courage to stand for justice, and grace to forgive. Let this be a time of healing for those in pain, comfort for those in sorrow, and hope for those who are lost. Guide us, O Spirit of unity, to honor the sacredness in all people and to work together to build a world where love, peace, and harmony flourish in every heart and every land. And now please rise as you are able and join us in singing our closing hymn, number 159, This Is My Song. Please join me as we extinguish our chalice together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Other hearts and other lands are beating. Other skies are everywhere, as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine. Go in peace and enjoy your week.
I was so excited to see that as the poster.